Welcome back, everyone. Hope you're doing well and you're surviving this coronavirus. Buckle up because we're ready to do this thing. Grab your hot chocolate, strap in, turn on your engines, and let's go. All right, we're here about 6:28, and we are going to start with the subject, underlining the subject. The very old priestess, the long-aged priestess of Phoebus, Phoebus being Apollo, Phoebus meaning bright light, it's one of his epithets. The long-aged priestess of Phoebus, when she gave these words, so start with the ubi. When the long-aged priestess of Phoebus gave these words, quote, said Yam Aga, but now come. Seize the road. We're used to carpe diem, but here we've got carpe diem. Seize the road and complete Perfica the undertaken task. Munas can be a gift, a duty, something like that. So complete the undertaken duty. Acceleramus, let's hasten, she says. So this right here is a hortatory subjunctive. Let's hasten, she says. Conspicio, I see. Let's highlight that for you like that. There's the verb, just a simple first person singular present. I see the what? The moenia, the walls. Educta, produced in the forges, caminis, of the Cyclopes. All that goes together. So what does she see? I see the moenia, the walls, produced, educta, caminis, in the forges of the Cyclopes. And the gates adverso fornica, something like beneath the facing arch. Where, now here ubi, unlike this ubi down at the bottom in 632 means where. Where the precepts bid, jubent, so that's a plural verb. That helps us know that praecepta must be the subject. There's the verb. Where the precepts bid us. Now we get the infinitive, here it is, to lay down the gifts. She had spoken, it's pluperfect, and equally having stepped through the dark places of the ways. They hurry over the middle of the space and draw near to the doors. The word draw near propinqui sometimes is the word for neighbors, people that are near to you. So there's the verb. Aeneas occupies the entrance and sprinkles, sparget, the word you should know, sprinkles his body with fresh water, recinti aqua, that goes together with fresh water, and plants the ramum, the branch, the bough, on the facing threshold. All right, everybody take a sip of your hot chocolate. Yum. All right. We move right along here to the second slide. We are on 637. Ablative absolute. With these things having been performed at last or at length. So at length with these things performed. With the duty to the goddess having been completed. They go down. They seem to be up somewhere, and the grove seems to be down. This is a syncopated perfect. Dewe nera. They go down to the happy places. And the pleasant meadows. To something like, they come down to, they reach the happy places and the happy meadows of the fortunate groves and the happy abodes. Here, a ampler sky clothes the fields. Vestit is clothes, like puts on, clothes the fields with a brilliant light. Purpureo is not really talking about a color. You could say rosy light, but it's a rich light. And they know, Norant. This is really know where runt. It's syncopated. They know their own sun and their own stars. Now, why this et is right here, so delayed from the beginning of the sentence, I'm not 100% sure. Let's see if I can find any comment anywhere. Nope, I don't see anything. So I think it's just delayed from the beginning of the sentence. And here an ampler sky clothes the fields with a brilliant light, and they know their own sun and their own stars. Now we're talking about the people down in the field now. Part, exercise their limbs in grassy palestra, that is, wrestling places. They contend in sport, and they struggle on the yellow sand. Part, stamp. Now, usually this word right here means applaud, and we get the word applaud from it, but we're talking about feet, and feet don't really applaud, they stamp. And so I'm going to use the word stamp. Part, stamp dances with their feet, and they say poems. So they are acting out tragedies and comedies or whatever. Neck known, we've seen that before, it means likewise. Likewise, the Thracian priest, this is Orpheus, who was the famous musician of the ancient world, played so beautifully he was able to get into the underworld to try to retrieve his wife, but unfortunately he looked back at her on the way back up. He wasn't supposed to do that. He wasn't supposed to turn around and see the transformation that she was going through, going back from death, going from death back to life. And so he lost her, and after that and some adventures, he became a priest. So likewise, the Thracian priest with his long robe counters, obloquator, distinctions of, I don't want to say voices, I'm going to say notes, 7 in number. Now, septum is a indeclinable word. It's going to modify discrimina, but I just delayed it so I could include numeries with it, 7 in number. So he counters the distinctions of their voices, with, well, what if 7 modifies numeries? Let me think about that for a second and see if I can get any thoughts on it. So this commentary says numeris is dative, referring to the dancer's songs, not to Orpheus's own singing, as some assume. Let's see, that's tricky. Likewise, the Thracian priest with his long robe let's say, accompanies the distinctions of their voices with 7 numbers. That would be dative. So I think the note is trying to say counters the distinctions of notes to their 7 numbers. So maybe this goes together, and let's see, we are going to say that this is not accusative then. I don't know, the commentaries don't really know either. So we are just going to say we think it goes with numeries. He accompanies the distinctions of their voices with 7 notes. How about that? And now he strikes let's see. And now the same things with his fingers, and now he strikes with his ivory pick. Can't tell you exactly what the dude is doing with his musical instrument, but he is accompanying the dancers and the singers with his notes and his playing on his instrument. All right, moving on to the next slide. Take another drink of hot chocolate. Everybody do that. And now we move on to say, here is the ancient race of Tukar, very beautiful offspring, great souled heroes, born in better years. Ilus, Assaracus, and Dardanus, the founder of Troy. He marvels from afar at their arms and the Kurus in Anis. We could say empty, that's what that word usually means, but I'm going to say, since we're in the underworld, the phantom chariots. Sounds like something on Scooby-Doo, right? He marvels at the arms and the chariots, the phantom chariots of the men from afar. Spears stand fixed. So stand is acting like a linking verb here. Technically, this is like a predicate adjective. Spears stand fixed on the ground, or in the ground, and here and there. Horses loosened through the field, feed, pascantur. Which delight, or what delight, of chariots and arms was for them living, what care to feed their shining horses, the same follows them repastos, buried in the earth. Last slide. Everybody take a drink of their hot chocolate. All right. He sees, look, others on the left, on the right, and on the left. Feeding, dining, that goes with that, through the grass. And happily, I'm going to take that as an adverb, lightum. Happily, remember that accusative neuters endings can act as adverbs. Happily, singing, a paean, that's a song, in a chorus. Among the grove, fragrant with laurel. Whence from above, the plurimus omnis, the river of Eridanus. So the river here of Eridanus, plurimus in all of its strength, rolls itself through the wood. Where did I get rolls itself? I'm taking this in a middle sense. Remember, when you do something to yourself, it's a passive ending, but has a middle sense. Here are bands. Now, monos can mean hand, but it also can mean band. I think we're looking at the band meaning here. Here are bands who suffered patior. We're talking about the passion of Christ, right? He suffered. Here, bands who suffered wounds by fighting, that's a gerund, pugnando, a gerund, by fighting on account of the fatherland. And whatever chaste priest, while life was remaining, whatever pious poets, and those who spoke things worthy of Phoebus, or those who enriched syncopated form, life through invented arts and those who facere, another syncopated form, made others mindful. And mindful takes a genitive after it. You're mindful of something. Mindful of themselves. Those who made others mindful of themselves, referring back to the quique, those who made others mindful of themselves by doing worthy things, by merit. For all these, the temples are encircled with a snowy white ribbon. So the temples for all of these are encircled with a snowy white ribbon. Okay. So I'd love to hear your insights because they've been very good. I thought we've had great discussions. I'll try to toss in something there, and we'll get a discussion started on this passage.